Welcome to another Top 5 with Kris O Five, guys. Today we'll be looking at the top 5 meta decks after Galakrond's Awakening. So far, the new solo adventure is only one chapter in, but it already made a huge impact on the game, which honestly I don't think anyone expected. The current meta consists of nothing but druids and rogues, with the occasional hunter to keep things fresh. Anyway, it is what it is, so let's just jump into the top performing decks right now. For your convenience, I've added a cool little feature at the bottom of the screen that shows you the time at which I'll be talking about each class, since most of the people are looking for a particular class in these videos. This is the first time I'm trying this out, so let's hope it works properly. I would advise you to check out the other decks as well though, so you are better prepared against them when you face them on ladder. The first one on the list should obviously be the one that everyone seems to be playing, Embiggen Druid. People were trying to make this deck work before the solo adventure came out, but with the inclusion of Winged Guardian, this deck really started to click. It's a very high rolly deck with a huge board potential. The side quest is really easy to complete, and once you do it, sometimes as soon as turn 4, your opponent is gonna be in deep trouble. Witching Hour helps you receive the Guardian over and over again, which guarantees your opponent is gonna have a great time against you. It can feel quite disgusting if you get your Embiggens and your Breaths nice and early, but sometimes swarming the board with 2 and 3 drops early is just as crazy. The deck has some good burst potential too, with a big Leroy and swipe for as much as 12 damage as soon as you have 9 mana, so your opponent should never feel too safe with low health. Most of these minions are untargetable and quite a few of them have rush too, so it's quite weird facing these guys. Here are the matchups. Paladins and Priests seem to be most reliable against this deck, but I do find that Highlander Galakrond Rogue deals with it pretty well too. Other than that, the grass is pretty green here. For the Mulligan, you obviously want your Quest, your Embiggens, Dreams, and Early Dragons. Scale Rider and Snip Snap are also fine keeps most of the time. Is it worth to craft this deck? First of all, you will mostly play mirrors with this deck, so if that's your thing, then this would be a plus. Second of all, I really think we are gonna see the fastest nerfs on this guy, because I can't remember the last time I faced 70% of the same deck for more than 3 hours gameplay time. Breath of Dreams, Embiggen, Strength and Numbers, and Winged Guardian are all in danger, and I think we will hear about it as soon as next week. On the other hand, they might wait out and see if the other cards from the adventure make a positive impact on the meta, but I think that would be a mistake and it might cost them a lot of players. Time will tell. If you still feel like playing Druid but you don't like Embiggen Druid, you can go ahead and try Token Druid from my last video. It does put up a decent fight against this deck, so I'd advise you to go that way instead. Next up should have been Highlander Galakrond Rogue, since it does put up a good fight against Embiggen Druids, and that's all that matters nowadays, but since I talked about it in my last top 5, you can check it out there. Instead, let's showcase just Galakrond Rogue, since it has pretty much the same overall win rate. Games with this guy aren't as high rolly as with the Highlander version, but you get to invoke your Galakrond a lot more reliably, and sometimes you can even curve him out as soon as turn 6. This deck has a decent burst potential with the 2 Eviscerates, Leroy and Shadow Step, and the 2 swings from Galakrond ain't no joke either. You curve out a lot more reliably here at the expense of the Highlander package, but your playstyle here isn't that value oriented anyway. Here are the win rates. Embiggen Druid is slightly in the red, and so is Face Hunter, but anything else is fair game for you, so climbing shouldn't be an issue. For the Mulligan, Cats, Edwin, Galakrond, and Praise are your best friends. Backstab, Miscreant, Dogwaggle, and Seal of Fate can also be good, but it depends on the matchup and what you already got. Will this be worth the craft? Well, it's not cheap by any means, but every single legendary here is worth it. You probably have Snip Snap for free, and Galakrond is free for sure. Edwin, Ziliax, and Leroy are a must anyway, so that leaves you with Krunks, Dogwaggle, and Flick, and those are amazing. Those 3 will remain in standard for more than a year, so this investment doesn't sound so crazy anymore. Do I think it might get nerfed? Probably, but I don't think it will be unplayable after that, so I think you should be safe to craft it. Next, I should be talking about Secret Highlander Hunter again, but we've all heard that story way too many times already. So instead, let's talk about Face Hunter and a particular version of the deck which is doing pretty well right now. The Face archetype is in the middle of tier 2 right now, but this particular deck is the best performing deck after all of the versions of Druid and Rogue. It opts for some extra early game with the Blazing Battle Mage, and some extra reach with Arcane Shots and Life Drinkers, so you can go over those big taunts. The games with it are pretty fast, so win or lose, you will be on your next game in no time. It deals pretty well with unrefined decks, which are bound to keep emerging after the other solo adventure chapters start releasing, so you will probably catch a lot of people off guard. The matchups are very polarized, but that shouldn't come as a surprise. You will be 50-50 against Embiggen Druids, and you will be favored against Rogues, which is pretty important too. If you see too many Resurrect Priests and Warriors though, you will probably be better off switching to another deck. For the Mulligan, Toxic Reinforcements, Face Stalker, Blazing Battle Mage and Dwarven Sharpshooter are your best friends. Eagle Hornbow can also be a keep for you sometimes, but I wouldn't keep him alone if I don't have any of the above cards. If you're tight on dust, I'd say you will be pretty happy crafting this deck. Leroy is the only legendary here, and that is a must craft for any player with a limited collection. And you can even run the deck without him till you gather the dust to craft him. You should be able to climb at least to rank 5 with this with ease, especially with all of those unrefined decks that will be emerging in the next couple of weeks. So decide for yourself if you want to go down the Smork path. Quest Hunter is also doing pretty well, so you can opt for that instead. On the number 4 spot, let's talk about Galakrond Zoolock. This is another deck that is more on the affordable side. It doesn't run any new cards, but it does deal pretty well with the rampaging meta decks right now, so this is why you should consider playing this deck. It's a typical Zoolock deck with a Galakrond package jammed into it. It plays the first few turns as your typical Zoolock, but it packs a mean punch in the mid game with a buffed out Galakrond. The card draw it gets from the worshippers is pretty nice, and getting those demon tokens over and over again helps you zerg out the board. The matchups are a bit polarized, but the important ones are well in the green. Druids and Rogues are in your favor, but if you don't see those too often, you might consider switching to something more consistent against Hunters and other Warlocks. You always want some of your good 1-drops, the Cultist and Scarabag. Depending on what you have, you might want to keep the Evil Genius and some other mid-game invoke cards too. Crafting this deck won't make a big dent on your dust, since it's under 5k, with only must-craft legendaries in it. Again, this is a deck that deals pretty well with unrefined decks, so you might catch a lot of people off guard with it. The archetype will be here forever, and you don't have to worry about the April rotation too, so I'd say you're fine crafting this deck. Just Galakrond Warlock is doing pretty well too, and Handlock will do wonders in the hands of experienced players, but I'll let you decide which one you prefer. And for the last deck, I can go either for Mech Pally or for Resurrect Priest. But since we talked about Mech Paladin in the last top 5, let's talk about Resurrect Priest, which has the higher win rate anyway. Games are pretty slow with this deck, but if time isn't an issue for you, and you don't have any sympathy for your opponent's lack of time as well, then this deck should be perfect for you. This is a deck with a very high skill cap, and you have to put in the time to reliably win with it. But once you do that, you will have some easy ranks in no time. Nothing out of the ordinary in this list, but it's doing pretty well in the current meta, mainly because of the drop of popularity of Rogues. You just outvalue most of the other decks, and you wear them off with your waves of taunts and heals. You have a huge amount of board clear and board control tools as well, so most of the time that is more than enough to take the win. The matchups look amazing for you, as long as you're not facing Rogues and Mages. Anything else is deep in the green, with the exception of the 50-50 Token Druid matchup. For the Mulligan, keeping some of your cheapest minions and board clears is the way to go. Keep Psycho Pump only if you have something else that he can revive, or you might end up skipping the mid game too. Even Xerx's Gallery is not that bad of a keep in some slow matchups, but against faster decks, just keep your minions and board clears. The deck is very expensive, very slow, and with a very high skill cap, so it's really up to you to decide if you would enjoy this deck. Xerx's Gallery, Ziliax and Mask Hysteria are rotating out in April, so you won't have that much time to enjoy it as it is. But it might receive some other support from the new set, so the choice is yours. So that's it for this video guys, I hope you found this helpful, and if you did, a like and a subscribe would be appreciated. Let me know what's your favorite deck in the current meta as well in the comments below. Thanks for watching, I'm Kris O Five, and I'll see you in my next video.